Hare Krishna devotees, welcome to the Jaiva Dharma series. Today we are going to discuss about the conversation between a Vaishnava scholar and a Muslim scholar. Henceforth, we will call discussion between a Vaishnava and a Maulavi. So here the Maulavi is asking a question or objection to a Vaishnava saying that Allah is one, He is formless. So worshipping an image of God is very offensive. It is matter worship. Why do you people indulge in matter worship? That is his question. And our Vaishnava is educating Maulvi as follows. First point he says, whom you call Allah, we call him Bhagwan. This is the first point one needs to understand. Bhagwan is one. We also say Bhagwan is one, but he has many names. And all his names express some of his qualities, and we prefer that name which represents all the aspects of his qualities. Like, take for example, Allah means all great. That is one aspect of God, but being all great is not the highest quality. We consider the highest quality which encompasses all the qualities of God is something that creates a wonder or sweetness, and therefore we prefer the name Bhagwan over the other names like Brahman, Paramatma, or Allah for that matter. So why? Because Bhagwan means he is all great, he is the greatest, at the same time he is subtlest. He has no form, at the same time he has a transcendental form which is beyond matter. So this form of transcendental form is not an imagined form. First of all, let us prove that God has a form. Just like you are praying to God. So if you are praying and God is listening, he must have hearing senses. He must not be senseless, right? So if he has hearing sense, of course, that sense will be free from matter. That is another thing. But he has a sense. So he has hearing sense. He has reciprocating sense. He can see. That means he has seeing power. That means he has a form. That is a transcendental form. That is just as a side note to prove that he has a transcendental form. And that transcendental form, which is not an imagined form, this is a transcendental form, divine form beyond matter, is perceived in the pure mind, which is free of matter. It is perceived in the pure mind of a worshipper, which is free of matter. So the more the heart is pure, the more one is performing a divine form worship. So we Vaishnavas don't do matter worship. We worship the divine form of the Lord, which is beyond matter. This is first thing that is to be understood, very important. And you are saying you are worshipping Nirakar Allah through the mind. But if the mind is impure, mind is also matter. So your worship also becomes matter worship or idol worship. If you are saying you are worshipping Allah with your mind, but if the mind is impure, because mind becomes impure, if there are any material things in the mind is impure, then mind is also matter. Then worship performed through mind, any imagination, meditation, whatever you call it, any conception that is figured by the mind is also matter. So you are also doing matter worship for that matter. Then to this, the Maulvi asks, but how exactly by creating material replica can you worship God? To this, the Vaishnava answers, an perceives, advanced practitioner or advanced worshipper perceives God's divine form within his mind first. God's form appears in his mind first, and when same form he is seeing outside, which he has conceived inside, same form he is seeing outside when he is doing deity worship. When he is worshipping the divine form or deity worship, he is saying that same form outside. So it is the bhav of the worshipper that decides whether worship is material worship or spiritual worship. Secondly, we also don't say that every matter is God or every object is God or matter is God. God is beyond matter. But every object is created by God, and therefore every object has a relationship with God. And therefore, with every object, there could be curiosity about God, there could be inquiry about God. And God, being omnipotent and being omniscient and all merciful, He can reciprocate with any of the pure objects that He has created and makes Him available out of His great compassion to any sincere seeker. And just like he is manifesting inside, he can manifest outside through any of his pure object to give an opportunity to him to experience God inside and outside through mind and through all the senses. So that is how uh, an advanced worshipper does a deity worship. He is not doing a matter worship. Uh, he is doing deity worship because his mind is pure and what he is seeing is also pure. So, to summarize, first of all, God has a form, and that form is a transcendental form which is beyond matter. Thirdly, God has created all the objects and he is omnipotent and he wants to reciprocate with his devotees. So, when a pure devotee wants to serve him, he can manifest through any of his objects that he has created as making them as instrument. He can manifest fully to give an opportunity out of his compassion to give the worshipper an experience both inside and out. So that is a great compassion of the Almighty God, whom we call Bhagavan. So there is no contention here that we are also not worshipping matter. We understand that God is beyond matter, but all objects are created by God, and He can reciprocate through any of these objects. Any of the pure sacred objects that He has created, He can reciprocate through them. For what reason? To give an experience to the worshipper. So, to this, the Maulavi is satisfied how an advanced devotee is doing deity worship, which is completely separate of the concept of idol worship. But then the Maulvi asks, but what about the beginners? Uh, they might not have this conception. So is not their worship idol worship? So we will take up this question, how this our Vaishnava scholar answers this question of Maulvi. We will see in the next episode. Hare Krishna.